Alright guys, as you can see, you can't see me right there with you. That's because I'm in Green Hills right now for the spectacle rehearsal. Okay, cool. Okay, that's why I'll present to you this video showing you how to make an amortization schedule. Okay. Okay guys, hello again. I'm gonna go through this quick since I don't want to be boring, and we've already tackled this before, so you probably know how this thing works, and I'm just here to refresh your memory. So I'll state the problem now. Bonbon borrowed 450,000 pesos from Nob Nob at 10% compounded semi-annually. To be debt-free, she needs to pay every 6 months for 2 years. Make an amortization schedule. So if you listen closely to the problem, it's an ordinary annuity, which means we'll be using this formula. So annuity principal times I interest rate over 1 minus 1 plus I raised to negative n. And then, so we'll get the values of each variable. So from the problem, we know that the principal is 450,000. And the interest rate can be, you get the interest rate by dividing j over m, which is 0.1 since it's 10% over m compounded semi-annually 2, so you'll get 0.5, and then you get your n, which is m times t. So she's paying for 2 years and compounding semi-annually, so 2 times 2 equals 4. Okay, so substitute the values. So 450,000 times 0.5 over 1 minus 1 plus I, so 1.5 raised to negative 4. If you plug this into a calculator, you'll get a value of 126,905.32. So note guys, I used an ordinary annuity formula because the problem is an ordinary annuity. So you need to watch out and analyze the problems carefully. If they're an ordinary annuity, annuity due, deferred annuity, general annuity, so you'll know the appropriate formula to use. You don't want to use the wrong formula and get the wrong answers, right? So check the problem carefully. So once you get the annuity payment, I'll be going through this quick. Once you get your annuity payment, just plug that number 126,905.32 for all the payment intervals in the column of periodic payment. Since 126,905.32 is your annuity payment, which means that's what you pay per payment interval. So it's gonna remain constant all throughout the intervals. So I forgot to put 400. So at year 0, your outstanding liability is 450,000, which is the whole principal. Because at year 0, or at the start of the loan, your outstanding liability, which is the amount that still needs to be paid, is the whole principal, since you haven't paid anything to reduce that amount. So what you do is, to get the interest payment, you multiply 450,000, the previous outstanding liability. So you multiply 450,000 to the previous outstanding liability, which is, or 450,000. You multiply 450,000 to the interest rate, which is 0.5, and you'll get this value. So that's how you get your interest payment. And then to get the repayment of principal, you simply subtract the interest payment to the periodic payment. So 22,500 minus 126,905.32, which will get you a value of 104,405.32. Then to get the outstanding liability for that payment interval, you simply subtract the repayment of principal to the previous outstanding liability, and you'll get a value of 345,594.68. And then you do that for the rest of the intervals. So I'll go ahead and do 2, 3, and then we'll do 4 together. Okay, I did payment intervals 2 and 3 just to speed things up. So again, for the fourth interval, to get the interest payment, you multiply the previous outstanding liability to the interest rate, which is 0.5, to get a value of 6,043.11. And then to get the repayment of principal, again, you need to subtract the interest payment, which is 6,043.11, to the periodic payment, which is 126,905.32, which will lead you a number of 120,862.21, which you can see if you subtract this repayment of principal to the outstanding liability, you'll get a number of 0 or almost 0. So that means you probably did a good job and you got the answer. But you still need to get the total of each. So yeah, you still need to get the total of each column except for the outstanding liability. So for the periodic payment, if you add all these up, you get 507,621.28. And for the interest payment, if you add all of them up, you get 57,621.29. And for the repayment of principal, if you add all of them up, all the values up, you'll get 449,999.99. Well, you can see that if you add the repayment of principal and the interest payment, you'll get 507,621.28, or a number close to it. That's because the periodic payment is just a combination of the interest payment and the repayment of principal. So it would make sense that if you add these two, you'll get this number. You get this. If you add these two, you'll get this. So yeah, if you get that, if you get this similar to this, you're good. And also with that, you need to get this, and if you add them, they're equal to this, you're good. So yeah, that's basically it. So sorry for the stuttering. It's 12 a.m. in the morning, and I hope you guys understand. And if you don't, just ask Sevi to give you another example so that he can explain, since he's actually there, unlike me who's not. Alright guys, thanks for listening.